Hi, this is Robert Polenick, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. To finish off my upper body workout today, I'm doing some tricep press downs. And I'm actually doing them with our kind of like nunchuck handles is what we call them. It's actually just a chunk of a barbell that we cut. It was a bent bar. We cut it and put the eyelet on top. So it makes just kind of a nice kind of neutral grip handle. You can do a lot of different movements with it. And what I'm doing today with it is tricep press downs. And I'm putting on our fat grips. So if you've ever seen these, it's just kind of like a thick grip that opens up and it can go over top of a bar. But that just makes the handle of something much thicker. So that way it's a little bit harder to hold on to. There are advantages for that. So what I wanted to talk about in today's video was, if you are training your triceps, what are you training them for? What's your goal outcome for your tricep training? Are you wanting to get them bigger for aesthetics? Or are you wanting to get them stronger for strength sports? Such as locking out on like a bench press, locking out overhead for shoulder presses if you're doing like log press and stuff as a strong man. What is the purpose behind your training? If we look at our grips over here, I'll scan and show you. We have a lot of different grips for our cable machine. So we have kind of neutral grip handles, a bunch of cannonball things, a bunch of other craziness. And we even have more handles over here. So we have like D rings on the back side there is a V. We have like a straight bar, some other odds and ends. So we have a lot of cable handles. The point of having all those handles is that every handle serves a little bit of a different purpose. Our triceps are three muscles. We have kind of the horseshoe outer part here. We have the long part of the tricep back there. And there's actually a little chunk down here. And this little spot is actually what helps kind of like finish the lockout of a bench press or overhead press. Well, if I'm always using like a triangle handle or a flat handle, like a regular round bar, this one, if I'm always using overhand things, whether it's a V or a straight bar, you're going to be working a lot of the outside, the lateral head. If you do a lot of overhead activities, anything where you're off a cable, maybe skull crushers, things like that, you tend to work the long head of the tricep. And then there's what do we do to work that little inside portion. So if I'm training my triceps to get stronger at bench press, I want to better isolate which part of the tricep I'm training. If I'm always doing things for the outside lateral head, but it's actually the inside head that has a better involvement with locking out, my tricep training isn't as efficient as it could be. So, what I'm doing is I'm doing a neutral grip press down. So I'm holding on to the fat grips, and I'm pressing down where my palms are facing each other. So if I was looking at you, I'd be holding the handles, and my palms are facing. That works that little part of the tricep much better, and especially when you have a thick grip. You have to kind of squeeze the grip, and when you lock out, that really fires that inside portion. So if you're training your triceps to get stronger at bench press, or overhead presses, or any kind of like press lockout, make sure you do neutral grip activities, neutral grip variations, as much as you would do overhand and underhand. Then, an extra tip we have is what's called a mechanical drop set. We all in the kind of lifting world are familiar with what drop sets are, which is when I do an exercise to the maximum of my ability for a certain weight and certain reps. Then, once I reach failure, I would drop the weight I'm using and try to do more. This is a way to increase the intensity of our workout. Therefore, we can increase the stimulus that leads to possibly increased results, assuming we're eating right and getting good recovery. What a mechanical drop set is, instead of dropping in weight, we drop from a hard position to an easier position. So what I'm doing today is I'm doing the first bout of effort with the fat grips on, then I'm sliding them off and using the regular handle. Since the regular handle is narrower, it's a little easier to do. This is a way for me to increase my stimulus, but not actually decrease in weight. It's a way for me to increase volume in regards to repetitions, but not have to have the extra repetitions come at the cost of decreased weight. So this is just a fun idea, something to throw out there. If you want to give this a try, go for it. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate a set. Okay. Then I pull the handle, throw them out of the way, grab the skinnier handles, and try to keep going. Good. So, that's a tip. Now I got 20, I think, reps, then 10 reps. I can add weight and do, maybe 10 and another 5 or 6 for the second position. The total rep rate does dictate what results you get out of it. If the bout of effort that you collectively do between both grips is somewhere between, say, 20 to 30 seconds, that's a really good blend of getting muscle damage and still some strength reduction. If you're over 30 seconds long, kind of where I was, it's more so for growth, and it gets good blood flow through the joint. So after heavy presses, this is a great way to get blood flow through the joint and kind of reset things. So that way during my recovery period, between workouts, the joint's more even in muscular thickness, and that leads to less joint pain. So this is kind of like a blood flow restoration technique to end the workout with that helps my body heal more evenly. The final tip I'll give you, this is a lot of information probably, but another tip was, if you notice when I was doing this, I was standing back and my arms were kind of out, extended in front of me. This holds more tension in that lower portion. If I were to stand closer and press down, as my hands become further underneath the joint of my shoulder, even though the cables are slightly in front of me, it actually lessens the tension on that inside head. So by having my arms extended out in front of me, that actually places a greater emphasis than if I were to step in and press lower. Pressing lower hits more of the long head in the horseshoe part, the lateral head, whereas stepping away, like this, hits more of the inside head. So you can see there's a lot of information available to us on how we can better fine-tune our training in regards to positions and grips and things like that, and also how we can get better results with less pain and misery, such as the blood flow restoration techniques. So make sure you're paying attention to your training. Don't only think of what is this one exercise doing for one purpose. How can I layer my purposes? How can I get more out of what I already do? So this is some fun information. If you want more from us, check out our social media channels, which we're doing right now, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, things like that, under the name Brutal Iron Gym. We also have a podcast, so search any podcast platform with the name Brutal Iron Gym and you'll find our podcast. We have over 80,000 downloads, over 700 episodes. Tons and tons and tons of good information. So thanks for watching, and give this stuff a try.